all cats old enough to catch their own prey gather here beneath the podcast for a clan meeting. Welcome to Paws Clause, a podcast where we read the Warrior Cats books in chronological order. I'm Jillian, joined by my co-host and gay Minotaur Scout, and today we will be discussing the 6th and 18th published novellas, Dovewing's Silence and Mothwing's Secret. Scout, how are you today?
I'm doing great, thank you. Shout out to the gay Minotaur that I play in one of the D&D games that Jill runs, being an absolute lesbian disaster in our most recent session. It was a great time.
It was so good. I barely did anything that session. It was great. Which, you know, considering I was recovering all week from norovirus, like...
Oh gosh, I didn't realize it was norovirus. Oof.
You know, we're not sure, but like, given the fact of like what I was experiencing, we're pretty sure it was.
Oh, that's rough. I am so sorry, bud.
However, I'm unlucky because Eric only had it for 1 day and I had it for 5.
I feel like Eric is always getting off fucking easy with these illnesses.
He is.
Eric, you're on you and your hardy immune system are on thin ice.
Yeah. I just don't have a good immune system, dude. I just, you know.
Sucks. It sucks to have a bad immune system. Sometimes it just happens.
Sometimes you're just susceptible.
Oh, I hate to be susceptible.
But yeah, we're here. So fun fact, listeners, we're actually recording 2 episodes today. So
we are. This is going to be a double header for us.
We're going to have to try and figure out how we want to structure our prey running segment. It's going to be a little bit different, I think.
That's true.
We're not going to have new content in between unless something crazy happens in the next like 6 hours. But I think this is our first daylight recording.
It's our first daylight recording in a long time.
Yeah.
The last one I can remember is Tall Star's Revenge. But I feel like
damn, that's a while ago.
I feel like there might have been one more, but still it was a while ago.
Yeah.
But we are trying to get our backlog back up so that we don't have as many issues with tight turnarounds for our beautiful editor, AJ, best editor in the world.
And my susceptible immune system as well, because I just keep getting fucking sick.
And a little bit of buffer for your susceptible ass.
Yeah. Oof.
We got to make sure we stay healthy.
We do.
Yeah. How is the prey running for you today? Let's do for these. Let's do just like one. We'll choose one food, and then maybe we'll have enough food for between the two of us to go around for both episodes.
Man, I've just been eating rice all week.
Oh, that's true. Because your tummy's been bad. Hey, we love a rice. Yeah. Just like a nice white rice.
Love rice.
Had any broth with
white
it?
Rice with a little bit of soy sauce on it because I need that fucking salt. Pedialyte, and graham crackers, saltines, applesauce. I don't really like applesauce, but I ate it because I know my tummy needed it.
Mm-hmm. I go up and down on applesauce. I don't like, like a lot of people like to have applesauce like with a pork chop, and I'm not really about that life.
I don't like pork chops, and I very much don't like pork chops with applesauce, so I get
fair.
you.
Mm-hmm. Pork chops are you have to be really careful with how you cook a pork chop. It either is like, it's really, really easy to make a dry pork chop.
Yeah,
which I suppose is maybe why people like to have applesauce with it, give it a little bit of juice, but I'm not big on that. Sometimes I love the concept of, I suppose it is a remnant of childlike whimsy within me. I like eating a little cup of applesauce or sucking on one of those little applesauce like pouches, but it's more
yes, I did get those. I did get the pouches.
The pouches are fun. It's more about the experience than it is about the applesauce itself. It's very interesting that I'm not big on applesauce because I do love an apple juice. But it's something about the texture.
I also love an apple juice. But yeah, the texture is a little... Because I don't like mealy apples either. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're just too similar.
Yeah. We tried a new pizza place last night.
Ooh.
Got a really nice, just a standard pepperoni and mushroom is kind of like my standard go-to pizza toppings. And it was really nice. I really liked the sauce. Had a very nice, flavorful sauce. The crust was really nice. Excited to probably have leftovers of that for lunch after this recording.
I love a good pizza.
I love a good pizza, and it's been a while since we've gotten a pizza. My favorite thing about getting a pizza is that then I don't have to think about lunch for like 2 to 3 days. Yeah. I do not have to think about lunch because it's just pizza. Of course it's pizza. It's always been pizza. Oh, good stuff. Other than that,
that's really all I got. I don't,
Yeah.
I will probably have something for dinner, so I'm sure we'll talk about that when we get to it.
I hope that it is good on your tummy.
Thank you.
I got one cover today. This is just a really nice, it's the Polish cover. Surprise, surprise. I love that these novellas, like these early novellas were all originally ebook exclusives. I don't know if they've ever, but I suppose that they must go to print if they're getting like covers this intense, like intensely detailed and stuff in other other country publications of it. But the Polish cover for Dovewing Silence is beautiful. It is Dovewing in this grassy field surrounded by daisies, with the petals sort of floating around her and the clouds in the background. The lighting is so nice. The colors are so warm. Extremely serene looking cover for a novella that I would say is not serene.
Yeah, I would say it's not serene. It's we have some moments.
There's a couple. There's a few moments of serenity. Mostly, guys, readers, get ready to be fucking sad about Dovewing Silence, honestly. But before that, you have a quiz for us? Should we do this quiz?
I do. We have a quiz. Woo! It's been a while since we've had a quiz.
It has been a while since we have had a quiz.
Beware, there are many spoilers that may lie ahead. Oh, shit. The Warrior Cats... Sorry, this is brand new. The Warrior Cats website now has a spoiler filter.
It does.
You can select the last book you read.
Oh, shit.
And it will, make sure that you don't get spoilers. This is incredible.
This
is huge.
Hell
Actually,
yeah.
that's great.
Great.
All right, so we're going to test our knowledge of this dedicated healer.
Hell yeah, test our knowledge of Mothwing.
Oh shit, I guessed on some of these. I got 6 out of 6, baby.
Damn, nice job. I got 5 out of 6, but I feel like the one that I got wrong was also something she did. Was question 2, which of these didn't happen? That's it. I read it wrong. I misread the thing. They got me with the double
silly.
Negative. They got me with the single negative, but
all right, so the first question, what was the name of the litter mate she lost as a kit? That was Tadpole.
Tadpole ripped a tadpole.
Question 2, which of these didn't happen in Mothwing's early career as a medicine cat? And the answer was she gave herbs to Leafpool that she later realized her own clan needed more.
Yeah, I said she accidentally fed the clan's elders water from a source poisoned by dead rabbit because I misread the question and thought it was saying which one of these did happen to Mothwing instead of didn't happen. Rip to me.
It's okay. What was the sign that Hawkfrost forced her to fake at the gathering? 2 pebbles blocking the flow of a stream.
Gotta hand it to Hawkfrost. He gave an extremely accurate StarClan
he did
vision
he did
read.
Pop off.
He that is absolutely some shit StarClan would send to a medicine cat.
Yeah, he did eat with that one. Mm-hmm. However,
it's the only thing maybe that I can give him credit for.
Mm-hmm. Which of these quotes was not said by Mothwing? The answer is, does Leafpool really think that dying makes a dumb cat wise?
She should have said that, but she didn't.
Oh, man.
And then what?
She should have, but,
Maybe she thought it. I can see her thinking that.
She probably did.
And it's just staying an inside thought for Mothwing. Next one was, what was the sign that Mothwing showed Jayfeather to help him find the 4th cat? A burning reed. Shout out again to that. We talked about it last episode, but that is just an all-timer scene.
That's a really good one, honestly.
I love that scene so much. And then, what is Mothwing's stance on StarClan as of The Silent Thaw? This is one that we haven't read The Silent Thaw yet, but she is already, as of our reading today, this is the same
This
vibe.
Is basically where she's going to end up.
Yeah, she believes they exist, but do not always have the answers and should not be worshipped without criticism. Which, yeah, she's right.
All right.
There you go. You beat me on that one, but only by 1 and only because I can't read.
Well, yeah, that one, no, I was tripped up on that one too, because I was like, are they trying to trick me by saying it was in her early career and which one didn't happen in her early career? Which is why I picked Leafpool, because Leafpool didn't get her name for a while. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, maybe it's that one. So I got it right, but for the wrong reasons.
Good time. These quizzes are always so fun and silly. I love them. I love that they exist.
Yeah, some of their questions are wild choices. But, it is what it is. Oh, they don't let you make your own username on the Warriors website. You have to generate one.
You have to generate
That's annoying.
That's so funny.
I think it's so people don't use swears.
Yeah, but it's still it's still really funny.
Oh, I just got one that was horrible. It was Topher.
No!
Because it gives you a warrior name and then a string of 6 numbers. Topher.
Not Topher.
That's horrible. Web Roach.
Ooh. Get that roach out of the web.
Hey, I. Hey, I. These are bad. No offense. They're not good. I know they're randomly generated, but they're not good.
They could get, I feel like they could have a cleaner generator. I mean,
Tooth Stripe.
What was that one?
Tooth Stripe. That's that Crest toothpaste where it's got the stripe in the middle.
Fucking Fire Emblem Engage protagonist.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Shout out to the protagonist of Fire Emblem Engage who looks like their hair is toothpaste. That game is just
a lot of thoughts.
Agonizingly forgettable, that game. It makes me so sad how much I don't think about it and how much I've forgotten about it. I love to play Fire Emblem. Please, make one that I remember. They give you a good one yet?
I picked Sky Patch.
Hey, that's not that far from Skystripe.
No, it's not. And this is for my personal one. So we'll pick a bad one for the podcast. Maybe that's what we'll do at our second recording is pick a bad one.
Oh, God, pick a bad. That's so funny.
Oh, incredible. Okay. Let's get into the summary.
Yeah, story time.
In Dovewing's silence, we see the aftermath of the great battle and its effect on the ThunderClan cats. Cats mourn their lost loved ones, with Dustpelt and Sandstorm staying by their mates' bodies in grief. Jayfeather and Brambleclaw/Star prepare to head to the moon pool for the granting of his 9 lives, leaving Squirrelflight in charge. The newly named deputy orders cats to get their wounds checked, and there's a general sense of weariness in the camp. Ivypool is distressed over Hollyleaf's sacrifice, but Dovewing assures her that Hollyleaf died the death of a warrior. In the midst of all this, Dovewing is getting nervous that she can no longer sense things as she was once able to. Brackenfur searches for Sorreltail and finds her curled up around the kits in the nursery, dead from her wounds. As he grieves his mate, Brightheart takes care of the kits, who don't understand why their father is so sad. This tragedy only increases Squirrelflight's insistence on having wounds looked over, and it turns out that Foxsleep is also in bad condition. In the morning, Purdy asks the clan for help in burying the dead, as he's the only elder left in the clan. None of the cats who trained in the Dark Forest join in the burial, as they are feeling the rejection and hate from their clanmates in the wake of the battle. The cats are buried and given a proper send-off by Leafpool, but in the process of burying their dead, Lionblaze breaks a claw on a tree root, surprising both Dovewing and his new mate, Cinderheart. Bramblestar returns, and Dovewing tries to overhear his conversation with Squirrelflight, but finds she cannot. She tries to talk to Jayfeather, but he is too busy with Foxsleep to discuss the issue. Blackstar and Rowanclaw visit, urging Bramblestar to attend a meeting with the other leaders to discuss what to do about the Dark Forest trainees among them. Eventually, they decide to have the Dark Forest cats swear a new oath to the Warrior Code and their clans. Despite this, tensions still run high between the different cats of ThunderClan. Later on, Molepaw and Cherrypaw find a fox caught in a trap and try to lure the former Dark Forest trainees there to scare them. Instead, the cats show their bravery and loyalty by fighting the fox and killing it, cementing themselves as worthy ThunderClan warriors. The three later finally discuss their powers waning and go to the moon pool together, where the loss of their powers is confirmed, and they are told that they will need to live without the assistance those powers have given them. In Mothwing's Secret, we follow Mothwing's personal journey and the relationship with her brother and StarClan throughout her life. Back in the forest territory, she's plagued by nightmares of the loss of their sibling Tadpole, while Hawkfrost reminds her they have to do all they can to make sure the clan accepts them as warriors. When Cinderpelt visits RiverClan, Mothwing is intrigued by the ways of the Medicine Cats, and despite Hawkfrost attempting to distract her, she watches as Mudfur and Cinderpelt save Blackclaw's life. This moment sparks the desire in her to train as a medicine cat in order to help serve her clan in a more meaningful way than she feels she can as a warrior. She speaks to Mudfur, who tells her that in order for Leopard Star and himself to fully accept her as a medicine cat apprentice, they'll need a sign from StarClan. But he still teaches her the basics of healing and allows her to help sick or injured clanmates alongside him. Hawkfrost does not approve of this choice, but Mistyfoot encourages her. Eventually, Hawkfrost warms up to the idea and plants the sign of the Moth's Wing for Mudfur to find. He reveals this truth to her after she visits Highstones. Before the journey to the lake, their mother Sasha comes to visit, wanting her kits to leave with her, but RiverClan encourages them to stay, though Mothwing is more reluctant to stay than her brother. In the Lake Territories, Hawkfrost pressures Mothwing into creating a false vision to support his desire to kick Stormfur and Brook out of RiverClan, which leaves her angry at her brother for using her for his gain. Later, the ThunderClan patrol bearing Hawkfrost's body returns him to the RiverClan camp, and Mothwing can't help but think the whole truth is not being told. She asks Leafpool what really happened, and while she's devastated, she knows it is the truth. During the Great Battle, Mothwing sees StarClan and Dark Forest cats alike, unable to deny their existence. She even sees her brother fighting against a clan she's worked so hard to protect, and begs him to stop. He refuses to listen. Eventually, she speaks to Mudfur and questions why StarClan let all this happen, but his words do not reassure her. While she may agree that they exist and that faith in StarClan is important to those she cares for, she concludes that their ancestors may not always be correct, and that they do not always have the power that the clans believe they do. And that's the summary. That's the books.
That's the books.
So starting with Dovewing, overall vibe.
I thought that the first, I am of two minds with it. I don't even know if it's divided into like first half, second half. The one mind is that I think it is a really poignant and effective look at like collective grief and like trying to recover from a really traumatic event. And on the other hand, there's just something about the absolute inconsistency of what cats were in the Dark Forest as trainees and which ones weren't that just irks me. Usually I'm not so CinemaSins on this kind of thing. But this is like, it's kind of important, guys. Like, it's kind of the whole point of the novella. Yeah, it's kind of a critical thing. And it's just, like, we will get, in our next episode, we will see WindClan cats that were training in the Dark Forest that were not represented here or were said to have died. And I just don't, I wish that there was more consistency with that. That's the thing that bothers me the most about it.
I agree. I think so. I was mixed on this one. The grief parts like really hit me.
Yeah.
Everything about that was so good.
The way that they
but
write
the inconsistencies just really took me out of the rest of it. I just was like, I don't know. Like it felt. Here's the other thing, too. I really feel like it should have just been part of The Last Hope.
Right? Doesn't it feel like that? Yeah.
It feels like this should have just been the epilogue of The Last Hope.
But it came out 2 years later. 2 whole years.
Wait, the next one is 2 years later?
No, sorry. This comes out 2 years after The Last Hope.
Yeah, so I think it had some really good moments. It's definitely better than some of the novellas that we've read.
Yeah, it's not the worst novella we've read.
But I don't think it is the best. I think, you know, I just have very complicated feelings about this one, I feel like, because it does some things really well, but it also makes some like huge, like killing off Sorreltail in a side book that not everyone's gonna read feels bad to me. Dealing with the grief over Firestar, the main character of the first like 15 billion books, in a side story that was an ebook first and not everybody's gonna read feels bad to me. Yeah, so like for that reason, I just can't bring myself to like it as much as I feel like other people do, which we'll talk about.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, those were my issues, was the inconsistencies and the fact that it like does so much because we follow ThunderClan so much, it feels like I'm not as picky when a novella or a super edition makes huge changes to like a clan's canon if it's not ThunderClan, because like, as I've complained before, we tend to focus on ThunderClan. Yeah. That's who we tend to be most familiar with, who we tend to like get the most attached to as like an average reader would. So I feel like changing things that drastically and putting those very important moments for your main clan in a side book, especially if it's 2 years later and you know that you're going to keep making books. Yeah. That feels bad to me. Yeah. And I just that's why I can't really like bring myself to like really love it.
Right. Yeah. Really be all for it. Yeah. I completely agree. It really is like, and this is one of the reasons I think that I felt so strongly about the sort of how truncated I felt the end of The Last Hope was, because I had read this novella before we did our last recording. And so I had it in my head and I'm like, this is all stuff, like you said, you know, this is all stuff that I feel like should have gone into that book versus being a separate thing. Yeah. I also think the grief, the writing of the grief is so good, but it feels right on the edge of being almost exploitative with how much sadness we are putting ThunderClan through here, with like the additional, we already had a lot of big deaths and then we have the additional death of Sorreltail and Foxleap here. And I know that they are trying to, I think that the intent is to say like that, you know, war and conflict and loss are like really big and scary and it's going to be sad and it is, you know, is when violence happens, bad things can follow. You know, I think that's what they're going for, but it does sort of like balance on the edge of like, this is a lot of these cats being really, really like devastatingly, you know, just really putting them through the ringer. And I think it works a lot, but also there's just that little bit in the back of my head that's like, did we have to go quite this hard? Yeah. I am simply devastated about Sorreltail. I'm so sad. I cannot.
And like, here's the thing. And this is another reason that I think they should have put it, if they were going to kill her off, they should have put it in the other book, because they were giving those death flags in the previous book. And I'm like, you have to wait 2 years for that, like, to pay off, that foreshadowing to pay off. And I don't feel like that's fair when it's like a minor, not that she's not important.
No, but she's not, yeah, she is not a major character.
Yeah. So that I think is part of it. It was so sad.
It's unbelievably
Lily
sad.
Kit, like clambering over her and just being like, sorry mom, when she like slips on her. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, I have that here. I'm gonna read this. The kit scrambled over Sorreltail's body. Sorry, Mama, Lily Kit mewed when her paw slipped into Sorreltail's ear. Dovewing tried not to flinch when she saw that the kit's belly fur was soaked with blood. She glanced sideways at Brackenfur, but he hadn't noticed. His legs had crumpled beneath him, and he was curled around Sorreltail's head, pressing his muzzle against her. Wake up, my love, he murmured. Our kids need you. We can't lose you now. Dovewing nudged the kits towards the entrance. I think Papa is sad, Seed Kit chirped. Shall I stay and make him feel better? Dude!
The way they're like, Dad's upset. What should we do? And the way they call him Papa killed me. That was too much. That was so mean.
And you know, you just saying that now makes me realize how often the cats do not refer to their parents as like mom or dad. They almost...
Which I will say, that is one thing I loved about this one, is there is very clearly a focus on like who's related to who.
Yes. Oh.
And not just like brother, like sibling and parent relationships. Like there's mention of uncles and cousins and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we are willing to mention that. Okay, thank you.
That's a good point.
But yeah, I feel like there was a lot of focus, especially on like familial connections in this book, which I really did. I appreciated that a lot.
Mm-hmm. What if I simply curled up under a blanket and never came out again? That's how
I feel you. That's how I'm feeling.
That's how I'm feeling about Sorreltail dying. I'm beside myself that both of the wife guys are wifeless now. It's
right.
It's unbelievable.
And I don't want to get into it again because we got into it last time, and we're gonna get into it again in Sharing Tongues. But it just sucks that the moms are dead. Like they're the moms.
They're the fucking moms.
They're the moms of all time.
Oh, the moms of all time.
Here's the thing that pisses me off, because I was starting to feel it last week when we were recording, so it kind of like didn't process in my head the reason for Ferncloud dying, but like the reason that they killed off Ferncloud, or the reason they say they killed off Ferncloud, being that like fans were complaining that she's just a baby machine, and I'm like, which fans and where? Turn on your location.
It's for real.
Because I would like to talk. She proved herself in battle plenty of times. Sometimes, you know what feminism is? When you can make the choice to be a stay-at-home mom instead of having to work.
Yeah, exactly.
You have the choice. You could be a stay-at-home mom if you want, but you could also be a warrior. And those are both perfectly valid.
Exactly.
And Ferncloud was just like, you know what? I like being a stay-at-home mom, and I like taking care of the kids, so that's what I'm going to do. Fuck all of y'all.
Exactly. And she's so incredibly helpful to all of the other mothers in the clan, too.
Right?
Like, there is such a deep value to what she and Daisy both do in ThunderClan.
Beautiful girl. Defend her until I die.
It's, yeah. That whole thing just feels really icky.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that the fans were complaining about it, and the fact that Vicky's solution seems to be, well, look what happens when she fights, she dies.
Hey, also, she fucking helped raise the original three. So, get the hell out of here. She was... Anyway.
The politics of motherhood in Warrior Cats,
it's wild.
Which then subsequently, spreads out into the, collective consciousness of the fan base, is really a fascinatingly fraught thing. The more and more we come back to moms, the more and more I am like, there is something deeply strange going on with what the Erins believe about moms, or what they've decided this world believes about moms.
Yeah.
Because I think even the fact that the two wife guys lost their wives, why are we losing the wives?
Yeah.
Because I think, to me, it reads as though they feel that will have a deeper emotional resonance because they are, mothers in that way than losing Brackenfur or Dustpelt would have. And so they are utilizing that more than it being any other reason, basically.
Yeah.
And I can't,
Unless... I think we should change that, and I think we should do more father angst, because it can be done.
Oh, yeah.
Batman fandom has shown me it can be done.
We can make father angst. They aren't, the Erins aren't brave enough.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't brave enough to give you a father that you're sad about dying. They give us a lot of
We need to take all of the father angst from video games and put it into warriors.
Oh, to balance it, as perfectly
balance the
balanced,
force.
as all things should be.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah. You know what else is rough is Purdy being the only elder. He was an MVP in the first half of this novella for me, in like the whole thing where it was really cool to get to see the burial rites, which we usually do not see.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen that.
I think the last time we really saw like we saw a cat's grave being dug, I think, was the series that in publication order came directly after this, which was Dawn of the Clans.
Damn.
I don't remember anything in the other series leading up to this where a little bit with Feathertail, but we didn't see them digging the grave. We just know where the grave is. So the burying of the dead and the way that Purdy picked out a specific place that he wanted to bury Mousefur because it was where she could get her favorite view of the lake fucking broke my heart, dude.
Yeah, that was so sad.
It's so sad. He is so lonely.
Yeah, and I feel like he's just gonna keep being lonely. I don't see anybody retiring anytime soon.
Yeah.
My poor man.
I'm curious to see if we get any other retirees before the start of Vision of Shadows.
Yeah, we'll find out.
We will.
So during the first gathering after the Great Battle, Bramblestar spoke next, then One Star. Their speeches were similarly short and vague, with little news beyond the restoration of dens and borders and reports of well-stocked fresh kill piles. None of the leaders mentioned the Great Battle or the recent alliance between the four clans, as if history had never happened. Dovewing narrowed her eyes. Will everything be forgotten so soon? What about the cats we lost? Shouldn't we honor their memory somehow, all of us together? And you know what, Dovewing? You're so right, because this has been my complaint forever, is that we do these things together and we show that the clans can work together, and then everyone acts like it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that it's finally getting directly pointed out.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to see some action on that.
Yeah.
Like do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just a little bit. Might be nice.
It would be nice. I would hope so. Maybe we'll get something about that. And I know we've got Bramblestar Storm coming up. We've got Crowfeather's trial for the next episode. We shall see. I genuinely do not know. There is some in Crowfeather's trial. There is some like reference to something at the gatherings that I do not know the origin of, because it doesn't happen here. So I'm curious to see where that comes from. Speaking of that gathering, though, I mean, I already talked about it. But who was and wasn't in the Dark Forest. Mm-hmm. We have things such as Thornclaw becoming a Dark Forest warrior post Great Battle here. It's so funny because you mentioned several episodes ago that you thought Thornclaw was a great contender for the Dark Forest because he is kind of a prickly guy and he often clashes with Firestar on things. He is a minor character, but is still known enough that people would be able to be like, oh no, Thornclaw, that kind of thing. And when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, that's, I can't say anything right now, but he does end up being a Dark Forest trainee because I remember them referencing it in later books. Mm-hmm. And then we got to the actual stuff that was happening within Omen of the Stars. And I was like, wait, where the fuck is Thornclaw? Okay, I guess I'm totally misremembering that. And then we get here and they're like, and Thornclaw was there. And I'm like, no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Free my mans. He didn't do that.
Yeah.
Which I don't like. I think he's a great, it makes perfect sense that he would be in the Dark Forest, but it was not established in the previous books where the actual battle happened. And then we have stuff like they have this meeting where they bring all of the remaining, former trainees, and they have this whole thing, which I thought was real. I want to hear your thoughts on this, on how ThunderClan ends up being the ones in this novella that have the most Dark Forest cats left, because you were so frustrated the whole arc with there being no ThunderClan cats in the Dark Forest.
I don't want to talk about it. And that's usually the inconsistencies are funny.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Usually it's like, oh, they keep forgetting so-and-so's eye color, or like this elder in River Clan is still alive despite having died 15 times before.
Right. Or somebody who was an apprentice last book is an elder now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, usually those are funny because it's, like, characters that we don't see.
Mm-hmm, right.
And this just, like, I'm just, like, because they say it's, like, oh, yeah, they're all training, like, separately, and that's probably why we don't see all of them. But, like, no, they were also all, like, having their big clan meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you're gonna recognize the people you live with.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It just frustrated me. That is one of the things that, like, really frustrated me.
Yeah.
It was the inconsistency with the Dark Forest trainees, and the fact that, like, I understand that Dovewing is like, we need to forgive them. They didn't know what they were doing. But I also can understand from the other perspective of, like, hey, these folks, like, let the enemy into our into our territories. Mm-hmm. Like, can we trust them? And it's like, yeah, they turned on their enemies, but I don't think it's unreasonable for there to be hurt feelings, which is what, like, as much as I love Dovewing, she's like, there shouldn't be any hurt feelings about this. And it's like, I think that's pretty justified because, you know, this wouldn't have happened if they weren't training in the Dark Forest. Mm-hmm. Like, sorry.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of that with Dovewing comes from just how much she loves her sister, right? Like, so she is projecting this onto, like, all the Dark Forest trainees, and also giving her sister,
her sister and her dad.
Yeah, and her dad. Yeah, both of giving both of them a lot of slack here because she doesn't want to, like, make that leap in her head to, like, a point where she has to think about them as betrayers or something, you know? But it is presented in the narrative like that is the, you know, morally correct option of, like, the forgiveness is right, and everybody who's saying that they are suspicious or concerned or you know, not ready to forgive are wrong.
Right.
And yeah, I think it also robs to just say that the trainees didn't know what they were doing robs them of a lot of, like, character depth and agency in a way of, like, we saw a lot of, like, the reasons that a lot of these cats were training in the Dark Forest. And if you just say, well, they didn't realize what was going on, and, like, say, you know, oh, they just didn't know what they were doing. Like, it's not, you can't blame them for not knowing. It takes away that whole additional layer that a lot of them had built up with, like, characters like Blossomfall, who had this whole arc of, you know, being in the Dark Forest primarily because she was not, she was feeling a lot of feelings about Briarlight's being disabled and the way that was changing the dynamics of her family. And the way that, like, the Dark Forest was giving her validation that she was not seeing in her family life and stuff like that. So yeah, I agree. Dovewing could have a little more nuance about this, but also I understand her take.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think it is a nuanced thing, and I think that the way the narrative ends up handling it leans more towards Dovewing's idea of justice, which I don't know. Yeah. I have a lot of complicated feelings about it, and I've been trying all week to process, like, how I want to, like, how I would, like, if I were Bramblestar or any of the other leaders, like, how would I handle this? And I'm like, man, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's a tough decision, especially, like, to make it in, like, literally, like, 1 second. Yeah. Like, okay, we got to figure this out now. Yeah, who knows? It's an interesting one.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Briarlight. She's just so delightful.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the way she's gonna be a warrior again.
She's gonna move into the warrior's den.
I did mark up.
And the way everybody was really, like, enthusiastic about, like, going to get her moss and feathers and finding her a good spot in the den.
Yes. They're like, oh, can we Lion Blaze is like, oh, can we take a patrol to like go fetch bedding and then go hunting and stuff? Squirrelflight's, yeah, of course. Like, make sure you don't get any damp moss, get a pigeon so we can have like feathers and stuff. The way Blossomfall is like, Briarlight has to have the softest nest because she can't feel if a thorn is going to poke her. So you all better make sure that you're being really careful with my sister. And Dovewing is so excited, and Briarlight is like, thank you, I promise I'll be useful. I can wake everyone for dawn patrols and check nests for thorns while you're out. There's no reason I can't have duties of my own now. I am a warrior after all. And it's just, that made me so happy. I'm like, why didn't we think of this earlier? Like, of course she can still do stuff despite being trapped in the camp. She's so excited.
I love her so much.
I really, like, she's grown on me so quickly.
Mm-hmm. She has such a, like, she just has, like, a positive effect on everybody around her, which is just so wonderful to see, you know? The last note I have is not Bramblestar hitting us with the United We Stand, Divided We Fall, and I don't even
I did not want to say it. I was like, I saw that and I was like, oh, I don't want to talk about how Tigerstar said, make ThunderClan great again that one time.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'm like, we can't be doing this.
Not again.
Not the political family.
Not bringing politics into my warrior cats. Yeah, it just it stuck out to me. It's not like word for word, but it was it just like hit me in the face. Yeah, but that's about all I've got to say about this one.
Yeah, me too. I don't really have much else for our personal discussion.
All right.
Let's talk about Mothwing.
Overall thoughts on this one?
Overall thoughts, I actually kind of liked this one a little bit better.
Wow, that's exciting for
which is
me.
a very unpopular opinion I found. A lot of people did not care for this one. I did like it a lot more, especially because I know this is like, the plot line is played out. We do not need more Mothwing Faith plot line. I think we've settled at a good place with it.
Yeah.
Of the two that focus on this, this is the better one.
Oh, absolutely. This is so much better than Misty Star's Omen.
And I feel like, you know, like a lot of people complain that, we're going to get into this, but like that it's just rehashing things from Mothwing's point of view. But like, that's what a lot of the novellas
That's
are.
true.
And I feel like we gotta take that for what it is just like, that's going to be most of them. But because she is from a different clan and she's got such a unique life, I feel like I didn't mind it as much. And especially with like seeing her, like how she was not feeling like she was fitting in as a warrior, and that transitioning into her wanting to like learning about like, oh, this is what medicine cats do, and this is something that I want to do, and like her not just doing it because of Hawkfrost's ambition, which is kind of how it spins in the main books, but seeing it as more of like, this was her decision. Like if the clans were not so beholden to StarClan, like she would have made this decision and that would have just been it. But I feel like it really gave me a lot more insight into her character.
Yeah. I think I came out of it a little bit cooler just because I do feel like a lot of this stuff is stuff. And I think also because, you know, we do all these discussions on the podcast. So like I spent a lot of time thinking about Mothwing, like, you know, in the stuff with like Tigerstar and Sasha and all the stuff, and like the whole tadpole thing. Right. So it's like I've seen all of the, you know, I have experienced
We've seen all this before.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of stuff like the opening with like the complete like just sort of beat for beat retelling of Tadpole's death didn't really work for me that well, but I can also understand them putting it in the novella because probably a lot of people haven't read Tigerstar and Sasha.
I would agree because again, I don't want to hate on it, but like
it was not the
prettiest. It was not the prettiest of the mangas. I don't think the mangas were super popular when they were coming out. Because it was kind of a weird choice, I think, at the time.
They were really trying something doing the mangas.
Yeah, it was an odd choice. I liked them. Like, I was so excited about them, I think, as I mentioned before. Mostly because I was like, wow, I can actually like read a manga and my mom's not going to get mad at me. But yeah, I would not blame folks for not having read the Tiger Star and Sasha things. And I think Mothwing's experience of the scene hits harder.
Yes, I do agree. I do think it is I think it is better. It is better than the scene that we get in the manga.
It really shows like more of how they are kind of how she feels about the fact that like her brother died and like the way that they really did try and like her desperation to save him.
Yeah.
And that continuing on and cycling with Black Claw, where the reason she decides she wants to become a medicine cat is she sees medicine cats saving a cat who was drowning. Mm-hmm. And she's like, if I knew that was possible, like maybe I could have saved my brother, which like she couldn't have. And it's not reasonable like to expect a child to
be able to do that, right?
To be able to do that. But like knowing that she can prevent that hurt from coming to someone else, I feel like is a really subtle and noble choice for her.
Yeah. Yeah, I did really like the added detail of that. The thing that compels her towards being a medicine cat is that experience and being able to parallel it back to the trauma that she had with the death of her brother. I do like getting to see Hawkfrost and Mothwing's sibling dynamic, like from a direct perspective.
From the inside, yeah, it's wild.
From the inside, it's so hard to watch it, and like it's really well rendered to watch it go from something that is like genuinely affectionate to just this terrible, like watching.
It's abusive.
It is, yeah, like, it is. It's it becomes abusive, and watching like the care drain out of Hawkfrost is like really chilling to see.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how long Hawkfrost was training in the Dark Forest. Like, do we think
I feel like he's got to have been doing it since the beginning.
Yeah, do we think he was there longer than Brambleclaw?
I feel like Dad came in and was like, "Hey, son, I know you're struggling to belong, but I can help you make it so that you're going to belong because you're going to rule everybody." And I feel like he's just been.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he really kind of has been in there for a long time.
Yeah.
The one of the moments that I marked was when Mothwing goes to the medicine cat den after Black Claw is brought back, and she kind of just is talking to Mudfur, and she's like, "I'm just interested in how you're taking care of him," and he's like, "He'll be fine, but I'm sure you have warrior tasks you should be doing." She's like, I guess. And then she says, "I feel like I belong in this medicine den. Maybe I feel like I belong here because this is what I should be doing." And she's talking about wanting to save cats, not just fight for them. And the way she says that, she just wants to save other cats from dying if she can. And I feel like it was just a really nice moment. And the fact that Mudfur was also a warrior before being a medicine cat, like, I feel like that gave him a little bit more of a, like, he definitely is more willing to train her without StarClan's interference at first, because he's, he understands kind of where she's coming from. Mm-hmm. That does kind of shift a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I do like that we get this look at Mudfur doing kind of preliminary training with her. I think that adds a lot of texture to the situation that we didn't get when we were just sort of seeing this from Leafpaw's perspective way back in the New Prophecy.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and I just think it was a nice thing.
Yeah.
I think the moment that she visits the Moonstone is very interesting.
Yeah.
Because they don't show her vision. She does speak to StarClan, but she doesn't know if that's what it actually is. And I found that really interesting.
Yeah, because, and this is the thing, I think that a lot of this novella is confirming things for me that I had already like just assumed in my head about what Mothwing had experienced, which might be part of the reason that I'm like, yeah, I already knew all this, because I just headcanoned it all and then it turned out to be true.
Which, I think maybe saying it was a headcanon is dismissive of, like, being able to pick on subtext. But I do think it was, like, since she is such a minor character, the subtext is so easily, like, not ignored, but, like,
You can miss it if you're not
very
really
much miss it
like
if you don't really
chew in on
if
it.
you're not if you're like me and not invested in her. Or I wasn't invested in her before this.
Damn,
rather.
Mothwing convert.
I know.
Incredible.
Again, this book made me like her a lot. Like, I was already starting to like her after The Last Hope, but this one, like, really got me.
Yeah, I do really like this as a companion to what we see with her in The Last Hope, too. Because it really does sort of solidify the perspective that she gets to in that book and in a really cool way. I love the way that her reaction to Hawkfrost's death is written. The way that she has this moment of like, she realizes she is relieved and she is horrified by the fact that she is relieved and like trying to process, this filial love that she has for her brother that also is tied in with how frightening he had become and how many just like dead ass evil things he was doing.
The way we find like I feel like we didn't really understand why Stormfur and Brooke had left RiverClan other than like Hawkfrost like telling her to do this vision, but the fact that we find out like he provokes Stormfur to attack him.
Yeah, we did see that. That we had we saw somehow
I must have simply forgore.
That's okay. Somehow I know that we saw, I think it was Bramble, Claw, and Squirrel Flight were like spying on the RiverClan camp for some reason, because I know that we did get to see that scene. But yeah, the provocation of Stormfur and Brooke, Hawkfrost is...
And like how much of it was like, he was very calculating with it.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. It's just like, he is playing chess. The Hawkfrost really is thinking. And that's one of the things that makes him so scary as a villain. And something that he inherited from his father, who was also always thinking and manipulating.
Yeah, I think I found the line you were talking about. Willowpaw is there when she finds out, and she's like, he wasn't all bad. RiverClan knows there was more to Hawkfrost than ambition. And Mothwing's like, was there? She remembered the eager kit her brother had been and how devastated he had been at Tadpole's death. She and Hawkpaw had clung to each other when they were apprentices, abandoned by their mother with no other cat to depend on. But Hawkfrost had changed. He had decided they would stay in RiverClan when Sasha left. He had faked the sign that made sure Mothwing was chosen to become a medicine cat. He had lied and schemed, grasping at power. Mothwing moaned and collapsed to the floor, pushing her face between her paws. Was that a tiny thread of relief running through her? Now she didn't have to worry about what Hawkfrost would do, or what terrible thing he would try to make her do. And now she knew that no cat would ever reveal her secret, that she had never even been chosen by StarClan, that she couldn't even bring herself to believe in them. Only Leafpool and Willowpaw knew, and she trusted them utterly. At that realization, she trusted the other medicine cats more than she'd been able to trust her own littermate. The cat who'd belonged to her and who she'd belonged to, the only one, which, wow, that's a loaded sentence. The enmeshment's crazy. Mothwing began to wail with misery. Leafpool and Willowpaw pressed closer, trying to comfort her. I loved him. I did love him. Hawk, my littermate, despite everything. How can I never see him again? But they had lost each other somewhere along the way. That scene, I think, is just so fucking good.
It's really good.
Her inner dialogue there is that is peak.
Yeah, it's so, there's so much to it. You know, that's the thing. There is so many layers, you know, peeling back the fucking onion of these feelings that Mothwing is having about this. I just think it's really, really, really good. Yeah. Lighter note that I have here, pointing at the screen, Calico, American author spotted. They said Calico one time instead of tortoiseshell, and I was like, ah!
I got you.
I fucking got you, Clarissa Hutton. I know what you are. American. When Mothwing sees Hawkfrost's Hawkfrost come from the dark forest, the line "he looked insane" is really good, and also was so fucking funny because
it's like, whoa, okay.
You don't hear the cats throw around the word insane a lot in these books.
You really don't.
I love her seeing his fucked up ghost going, damn, he's crazy.
Yeah.
Which, like, is true.
I marked that scene, too, because she sees him and she, immediately starts having a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
It was undoubtedly her littermate. He looked as powerfully muscled as ever, but he was no longer the sleek young cat who had died all those seasons ago. His coat was dull and matted, the shape of his ribs clear beneath his fur. Blood ran from his cheek, and one of his eyes was swollen shut, and the other eye was lit with fury and hot hate, different from the cold ambition of living Hawkfrost. He looked insane. This new Hawkfrost, that is good. That is a good thing there. This new Hawkfrost stood in the clearing for a moment, his good eye darting from one tangle of battling cats to another. Then in one swift move, he turned toward the nursery, which is so,
Broken
the way
Star
she sees him, and he's immediately ready to go kill children.
Broken Star has rubbed off on him, man. Broken Star took all, got all of the senior Dark Forest warriors together and said, what we are doing is killing children.
Yeah. And so she watches as he, kills Dapplenose immediately, and she yells at him, and he just looks at her. She says, don't, please. And Hawkfrost's face was unreadable. Was the sweet, brave kit she remembered still in there somewhere? After a long moment, he turned away and took a step toward the nursery. And that just, that hurt.
Yeah. It's rough.
That hurt me.
I'm so invested in their sibling relationship and the fucked up stuff there. So I was kind of sad that there wasn't more confrontation and more of a conversation between Dark Forest era Hawkfrost and Mothwing. But what we did get was so good. But that's part of the reason that I'm I wish there was more of this.
I think it would be cool to have had more of it. I do think it is incredibly effective to have that be the last thing she sees of her brother, is that he is going in and he is no longer Hawkfrost to her. That is not her brother anymore.
That is true.
And
yeah, you're selling me on it.
I'm a sucker for people seeing their dead loved one and trying or possessed or whatever. I'm just so obsessed with trying to call out for someone to get them to change, to recognize I am someone that you love. I am someone who cares about you. Don't do this horrible thing. And for the other person to I'm a sucker both ways.
Yeah.
For them to be oh, you're right. This isn't me. Or to very blatantly be I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah. It's good. It is great either way. Oh, I love that shit. That shit's good. I'm thinking about possession.
Yeah.
Thinking about it. This isn't a possession situation, though. This is just Hawkfrost. I do think it's you pointing out the line about this new Hawkfrost really is unlocking something in my brain that's making me think about how the Dark Forest cats are changed by their time in the Dark Forest. They are not statically at the point that they were when they died. They are continuing to be influenced by the other Dark Forest cats and becoming worse, basically, by being in that environment.
Yeah.
Which I think is really good.
Oh, man.
I don't have that much to say about this, but I did want to just point it out that Mudfur shows up here and says no cat ever has to die for things to get better. And I just thought that was kind of a that was, Mudfur.
That's blatantly untrue.
Mudfur, I can think of at least 2 instances where we had some prophesied deaths that were specifically there to make things better. So I don't know. I think maybe you need to look. Get those glasses checked. Read through that prophecy list one more time.
Maybe, go back and see when they literally told ThunderClan to kill a child.
Yeah, maybe that time they literally told ThunderClan to kill a child, and it fucked up the child's father so much that he became a kitty pet. Or maybe think about that time that Cinderpelt was told that she was going to die because she had to, because it was prophesied and things were going to get better after she died. There's at least 2 of those.
Yeah, it's rough.
I did feel like there was. I feel like we got more nuance on Mothwing's feelings when we saw it in The Last Hope. When it comes to StarClan being, StarClan is real. but not good enough. She's very, and I think it makes sense for her to sort of leave this novella being very angry, but I do think that I end up liking it more when we get the like the cooler headed version of it that we see in The Last Hope. But generally,
yeah, I think overall it tracks what she's got going on in this one.
But there's a little bit more of that black and white thinking in here that I'm glad that there is. We have the context of The Last Hope to see that softens once the sort of initial like shock and overwhelm of this whole thing, yeah, kind of comes down on the other side. But yeah, that's what I got for this one.
That's all I got too.
All right, Erin Corner time.
Let's go.
First time we've seen Clarissa Hutton in a while. Yeah, and apparently, somebody in the Discord mentioned this. She is going to be taking over more of the main series writing. As the original Erin Hunter team is continuing to retire. We haven't seen her in a while. We've had some, she wrote like Red Tail's Debt, which we weren't big on, but she has also written like Black Star's Reckoning, or Blackfoot's Reckoning, which we really, really liked. This was good.
She did Shadow Star's Life, which I feel like I remember us really enjoying.
Shadow Star's Life.
Was that the murder mystery?
Shadow Star's Life is the murder mystery. Thunder Star's Echo was also her. I think that's what that novella was called.
Yeah. So she does really well. I feel like overall she's pretty good at the...
Yeah, I think overall I have been more positive than negative on the work that we've seen of her. She also had a...
Oh, I do remember liking Thunderstar's Echo because we get very, very homoerotic and that moment of... we should just be a throuple.
Yeah, they should just be a throuple. I remember the one thing that we were laughing about was that both of those somehow had the same like arc or plot points, but I don't remember exactly how. But yeah, and I think Clarissa also had a bigger hand in Dawn of the Clans than a lot of the other stuff. And I don't know how, I think that mainly before this, it was Dawn of the Clans and the novellas. And I think she took over the novellas like more. I think she might have completely taken over the novellas after Vicky's official retiring in 2017. So we'll be getting
according to her profile on the actual like
on the
official page, official Warriors page, she also did like bonus chapters.
Oh, cool.
Because I think we did have some bonus chapters in Dawn of the Clans. Like that was a thing, right?
I'm trying to remember.
Did we not?
I don't know what a bonus chapter is in this like context.
Yes. Thunder Rising had bonus scenes. So this one is how River Ripple got his name.
Oh yeah.
So it was those little like 2-chapter things at the end of I think most of the Dawn of the Clans books.
That's right. Yeah, I had totally forgotten about those.
I really liked those.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think all of Dawn of the Clans, because Sun Trail and Thunder Rising definitely did, and I didn't grab the other ones, but I think all of them did have those bonus scenes. So that was her, which I remember loving those.
There was a lot of, I was thinking about, I think you sent me a message yesterday or a couple days ago about the like the narrative voice in Crowfeather's trial, which we will be talking about later. And it reminded me, like, because Crowfeather's trial is post Vicky, and I'm so curious if, like, I've been trying to think back to Dawn of the Clans, which was also like on the cusp of the post Vicky era, and think about like how the changes in the writing team might affect the way that the narrative voice sounds, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm curious to see more Clarissa Hutton stuff in the future and see how she adapts and what she brings more as she becomes more forefront to the team. I'm excited.
I agree, especially apparently the next book that's coming out, the second book Handbook of Changing Skies, she is the main on that one.
Cool.
So excited to see that.
Yeah.
And it does say she was involved in plotting every step of the way of Dawn of the Clans. So yeah, I'm very excited to see more from her.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is a very rare moment for me to interrupt the Erin Corner. I apologize.
No, I love it. Please, I love it when you when you give me more information. Please interrupt me every time.
Dangerous precedent, you're saying.
During one of the Hunter chats, Kate and Vicky both said they did not think StarClan would have actually sent a sign to Mudford to make Mothwing Medicine Cat, but Cherith does. So I love that there is dissent within the Erins about whether or not Mothwing would have been accepted if not for Hawkfrost's interference. I thought that was funny.
That's so fucking funny.
I do love also various author statements saying that Mothwing will go to StarClan despite not believing in them for so long. I just think it's really funny to envision Mothwing waking up in StarClan and being like, oh, fucking hell, come on.
This place.
This fucking place.
Mwah. Have fun at your concert.
Bye, Eric.
Eric, would you like to give us your thoughts on the Warriors book series while we have you here? Here, speak into the microphone.
My thoughts are, you're both furries. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Incredible.
And then since I didn't have too much to cover as far as Erin Corner stuff, I thought this was as good a moment as any to talk a little bit about the updated and expanded Ultimate Guide, and specifically the way that they are really, really, really bad at describing the visuals of the cats. This is another thing, we've been talking a lot about fucking, the CinemaSins moments in this episode. I think that what they have done in the Ultimate Guide is truly unacceptable.
I feel like we've got to make a special episode about that guide. I feel like it has to happen.
Probably.
Just like a fun little extra thing. Cause I feel so bad. One of my friends got it for me for Christmas because they are like, oh yeah, I know that you're doing the podcast now and all that. And they were like, here you go. I got you this. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet. And then I'm seeing everything about the new guide. And I'm like, oh no.
They really
it's bad, actually.
It's just, I'm just going to read. I pasted, this is a page on the Wikipedia, on the fan wiki. There are numerous description inaccuracies within the character bios, and I'm not going to read every one of these, but we got some big names here.
Jesus Christ.
We got some big names here. Blue Star is listed with white fur and green eyes. Spotted Leaf is listed with dark brown fur. Jay Feather is listed with dark gray fur. Cinderheart is listed with pale brown fur. Ivy Pool is listed with dark brown fur.
This is wild. They must have gotten this almost makes me think it was a printing thing. Some wires got crossed somewhere.
It feels almost like everything got shifted one cat down or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Leopard Star is listed with dark ginger fur. Feathertail is listed with dark gray fur. Hawkfrost is listed with light brown fur and dark blue eyes. Now that sounds like they mixed up, and it should be dark brown fur and light blue eyes. Mothwing is listed with dark ginger fur. Leaf Star is listed with ginger fur.
That's so funny.
And there's just so many of these.
This is so bad.
Maple Shade is listed with dark ginger fur. It's just something happened.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say I don't think it was. I know that Clarissa Hutton worked on the Ultimate Guide. She seems very passionate about warriors and very much somebody who has that attention to detail. Based on what we've read.
Yeah, I don't think that this is the stuff that she was doing.
I don't think this is on her.
No, I do not think that the allegiances or the character bios were a Clarissa Hutton joint. I feel like this was maybe a fucking intern who's not getting paid enough. I don't know, dude.
Yeah,
It's combined with how I feel like a lot of the art is pretty weak.
Agreed.
I'm still concerned about generative AI in some of them. I would have to like see, you know, the final printing and really like look over all of those images to see if I if like my worries that I had when we looked at early illustrations from there, you know, still hold true. But I don't know. I simply don't know, guys. What did you do? Why did you do this? So that's it. That's it for the Erin Corner for today. Why don't you take us to sharing tongues?
Sure thing. So fun fact, I did have a dream about Brackenfur and Sorreltail last night.
Oh my god.
I know. Not like they were in it, but like I found, like in the dream, we found some new source of like how they determined like what everyone's, like which cats they were gonna pair up and what their kids were gonna look like and be named. Like we found some source of like, these are the Erin's notes on this, and it was like charts of like compatibility.
Oh my god, that's good. That's good though.
But Brackenfur and Sorreltail were in there. And the first thing that I saw when I searched up Dovewing Silence on Tumblr was this devastating little comic. So I'm gonna become the Joker. It is a bloody Sorreltail with her two kits. It says, "All is well now, pay no mind. All is well now. I'm just fine. I'm just fine. It's only blood. I have plenty left. It's only blood. I just need to rest." And it's just a progression of like her
with the kids,
reassuring her kits and like curling up around them, and they're snuggled up with her, and it's so devastating. Like this is
it's so
upset. Well done too. It's like that
really
last image of Sorreltail is so pretty.
It is. I'm so
devastating.
I miss her.
I miss her too.
I fucking hate that she died. I miss her.
Bring her back.
I am Brackenfur right now.
Dovewing Silence was pretty popular among the fans on Tumblr. A lot of folks were saying it and Bramblestar Storm should have switched places or plots. So I'm very interested to see where Bramblestar Storm takes us.
I am
and
also
like
interested.
What that is all about. Because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, me either. I know nothing about it.
Yeah. This post from Tumblr user Talonpaw. Firestar was carried by Sandstorm, Graystripe, Squirrelflight, and Millie. Dovewing heard the gray tabby she-cat murmur, "We were born as kitty pets, but look at us now, my precious friend." Like, are you fucking serious? That hurt.
Yeah.
Because we don't get a lot of Millie outside of those manga, but like the fact that she just feels such a great affection for Firestar because of the connection he has with Graystripe, and the way that she says like, "Look at us now, like look how far we've come."
I know, that's fucked up.
But Talonpaw's edition is, "Behold the only scene from Warriors that has ever managed to make me cry out loud." And you know what? I agree. So sad. Again, just like we were complaining, lots of complaints about the inconsistency in both the timelines and who was in the Dark Forest. Everybody crying. Everybody's sad about this one. Like, and I don't blame them. It's a sad one.
Sad.
It's a rough for the emotions. Someone made an excellent point that they do wish there had been more of Leafpool in Mothwing's secret in order for her to be more of a foil to Hawkfrost.
That was one thing
I think that would have been a really good improvement on the novel.
Yeah, that was one thing I was really missing in Mothwing's secret was the Leafpool and Mothwing relationship. Yeah.
It would have been nice to see more of them, but oh well. Definitely more on Tumblr for Dovewing's novella than Mothwing's. Which one came first?
I have the publishing dates written up here. Mothwing's secret was 2020.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that was like 5 years ago. So that I guess makes sense.
And Dovewing Silence was 2014. So
okay, yeah. I've noticed there's not, like, there is active Warrior Cat posting going on over there, but I've noticed that the strongest stuff tends to be for earlier content.
Yeah.
I think this upcoming arc is where we're going to kind of see a lull on Tumblr, and then I think as it picks up with Broken Code and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like Broken
kind of like bell curve.
I feel like Broken Code brought a lot of people back on the train for just the whackness.
I mean, even before we started the podcast, I'm pretty sure that was coming out before.
Yeah, it had finished before
before we started, and that was getting me like, maybe I should get back into Warriors.
Yeah, because that was Broken Code was the last arc I finished reading before, because I had started a reread in 2020 and taken a little break and then gotten back into it and gotten through like all of the main series books up through the Broken Code before we started the podcast. Okay. Except that I hadn't read, I had skipped over Dawn of the Clans originally.
In terms of fanfic, I only checked AO3 because with the time that these books came out, I'm gonna be real, I think fanfiction.net did not update their character list after this. It's bad there, guys. I can't look at that website anymore. It's so janky. Anyway, so we had one for Mothwing Secret, in which it is a retelling of Mothwing Secret, but from Hawkfrost's point of view.
Interesting.
2 fics for Dovewing Silence. One is our good old doing the warriors as humans. I think they gave up because I saw that. I feel like I just have never noticed before, but their orphan account, so like they've stopped doing them.
Gotcha. Wow! Shout out! The king has returned.
I know. I gotta see. Hold on. Let me see if did they put it all in a collection? Oh. Hold on. I gotta double check this. Okay. This is part 45, original discontinued. Okay, no. They went through Vision of Shadows.
Wow.
So they stopped in 2024. They were the last one they were working on was Vision of Shadows, River of Fire. They had a Discord and everything. They wrote apparently how do you write so fast? Outlining like 3 books ahead. I read the books, take detailed notes on events, things I want to change, lines I like, then put them together as the stories you're reading now. Interesting.
Wow.
I was not familiar with your game. Yeah, so apparently the last time they updated was 2024. Oh no, they're still posting.
Oh, they're still going?
They're not going. They're revisiting. They were revisiting it in the. No, never mind. They just posted on their other account it seems they're doing a new version.
Oh.
They've changed it up.
Oh.
They're doing it as a human warriors AU surrounded by monsters of English mythology. Okay. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Go off.
Go off. Again, I will perhaps tell them you can write your own fiction. Write a book.
Oh, I also searched up, because I'm a sucker for sibling angst in fics. I searched up Mothwing and Hawkfrost, and there are 27 exploring their brother-sister relationship, and some of them look really good.
All
so
right.
I added like 10 to my marked for later. So I feel like
hell yeah,
that is a very popular dynamic to explore, and I'm looking forward to doing so. Storygraph. Dovewing's Silence got 3.83 stars and had 219 reviews.
Wow, that's a lot of reviews.
Yeah. These are 3 of the notable comments that I saw. First one is, the only thing I did not enjoy was Bramblestar's lack of emotions, for lack of a better word, on becoming a leader. So I really hope we get more of that in Bramblestar Storm, because it did feel weird for him to just be like, oh, guess I'm leader now. Yeah. I'm gonna go. And it was like, okay. Also, it pissed me off that everybody was calling him Bramblestar before he got his 9 lives, but that's just a me thing. Because, they've made a big deal about that before.
They have made a big deal about that before. It's true. Yeah, I feel like...
Another comment... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say that I agree with this comment, and I feel like this happens... I feel like sometimes once a cat becomes leader, they lose a lot of personality and it gets replaced with leader personality.
I agree.
I feel like Misty Star kind of also had this happen to her a little bit, for example.
Which is such a shame, because I was so excited about her being a leader, because I just loved her so much as a kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe we'll get... I can't remember if we get a little bit more juice in there, but anyways, continue.
Maybe not. Who knows? Oh, next comment. Still, I have to wonder if the 3 lost their powers after the Great Battle because those extra abilities were no longer necessary, then why does it feel like their powers assisted them well before the Great Battle during completely unrelated matters? Agreed.
Interesting.
I agree with the decision to take their powers away because they were overpowered.
They needed to get nerfed.
Warriors is like right now. like if they continued with those powers, like shifting to another POV character would make no sense.
Yeah, that's
and they'd
fair.
have to like keep raising the stakes, and it would just not be fun.
Yeah, you would get the power creep.
Yeah, so I feel like that was a really good idea to like not do a power creep, but it also was like, okay, well, maybe a better explanation.
Yeah.
And then this one was the same thing kind of that I said, was this feels more like a continuation of The Last Hope rather than a standalone entity. It was nice to read about the closure of the final battle, but I don't feel like too much happened otherwise. This book is from the perspective of Dovewing, but there was a lot less focus on her than I envisioned before reading the novella.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think that she acts a lot more like a camera, Dovewing does here, than like a character in the way that
which is ironic because she's lost all of her powers of senses.
Oh my God.
Mothwing's Secret, 3.8 stars of 44 reviews. Not really any comments other than people being like, I don't like Mothwing, or this is a repetitive storyline. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we know.
We get it.
We know. Reddit similarly does not have much directly about her novella. And then this one, I did find a post that I feel like hit the nail on the head for me. It says, anyone else annoyed by the deaths of the Great Battle? I find it really annoying that out of a clan of warriors, the only deaths in ThunderClan were Firestar, plot-driven, Hollyleaf, plot-driven, and then a mom and an elder. And then retconned in Dovewing's silence, we have another mom and everyone's favorite baby boy, Foxleaf. Like, the whole frickin' point of having a camp and defending it is to protect elders, queens, and kits. So the fact that only 2 warriors and Firestar who were actively battling lost their lives, while 2 of the 4 queens in the nursery at the time and the oldest lady in the clan are the other deaths. I know a lot of cats from other clans died, but honestly not a ton of them mattered. So just a lot of like them saying that, and I agree. I feel like it is number one frustrating that the majority of ThunderClan deaths were the ones that they were supposed to be trying to protect. But again, and I think I've said this before, if it was such a big battle, we should have seen more. Like, this was an opportunity to get side characters out, as callous as that sounds. Like,
yeah, and especially I just really think that we didn't get enough time spent in the other clan like camp battles. And again, this comes down to pacing issues where they did not give themselves enough time in this book, not in this book, in The Last Hope to let all this breathe.
And someone commented, I hated how Hollyleaf died right after coming back, and honestly, her personality was so much better. I wish Ferncloud had defeated Broken Star, and Mouseford did the same with Longtail to show they aren't just some useless cats. OP said, I agree, Hollyleaf was penitent and trying to be good after what she did, and she found peace with her family. To lose her right after that was absolute garbage. I can understand giving her a life-changing injury or something, but it feels like such a waste to just kill her off.
It does. It feels like
I agree.
Such a waste to kill her there.
I agree. We have some YouTube videos. We have some Mothwing vids, some PMVs. There's a Mothwing and Leafpool one that's not like super related, but I think they're cute, so I put that in there.
Hell yeah.
But mostly these kind of cover Mothwing's storyline. We did get a mention in our Discord of an AMV that we missed, apparently, that kind of goes over, it was some Omen of the Star stuff. Oh, Jesus Christ. So we'll make sure to add that one in as well. We had some folks in Discord be like, hey, this is a really good one that you guys missed in your search, and I will gladly do that. Also, there was one that you said you were mad we didn't talk about.
Yes, there is one that is using a song from the Tangled animated series that was on Disney Channel back in the day. I don't know, it wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't.
But it was called, it's called Ready As I'll Ever Be, and it is a primarily breeze pelt perspective of like preparing for the great battle. And it has some of the most iconic like Warrior Cats AMV shots in it.
Nice.
That I think about constantly. I've gone and I've watched it like 3 times since remembering that it exists, because there's just some really fucking good animation in that one. I think about it a lot. So I got to add that one in too, and everybody should go watch it.
I also found one more that we missed, which was a Dark Forest multi-animator project set to Be Prepared, which I think is just very fun.
Yes, I think I have watched this one before. It's really good.
I did not search for Dovewing because I'm pretty sure she's sticking around for a while, so I didn't want any spoilers on there. Blue Sky, I'll be reposting some fun art that we found. Nothing specific to the novellas, but I did find one quote that says, "Mothwing is just like me, bottling up problems until they're literally unsolvable and everything is falling apart."
Oh, God.
It's like, oh, poor girl. I did some general searching. There's a Warrior Cats RP forum. It's not a ton of people, but like it seems to have been pretty active. And they did polls for when the books came out. And it was, what did you think about Mothwing's Secret? What did you think about Dovewing's Silence? And it was like, loved it, liked it, neutral, dislike, hated. And on both of them, like the majority was liked it. Dovewing's had a lot more percentage, had like double the percentage of people who were like, I loved it, than Mothwing's.
But also double the percentage of people who said they disliked it.
Yeah. So who knows?
Seems like maybe just more people have read Dovewing's Silence than Mothwing's Secret.
Yeah, there were five more voters for Dovewing than Mothwing, so it wasn't that much.
Yeah,
of a
not that much.
But you know, both pretty decently liked. From what I saw in general, I know that based on what folks in our Discord have said, when these books were coming out, there was a very strong Dovewing v. Ivy Pool contingent sort of deal in the fandom.
I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah, people apparently were like choosing one sibling and being like the other one sucks. So I did see a lot of like remnants of that, and this novella seems to be where Dovewing haters like her the most. Like I saw like several people who were like, yeah, I don't like Dovewing, I think she's annoying, blah blah blah, but I really enjoyed her in Dovewing's Secret, which I just think or Dovewing's Silence, and I just think that's such an interesting take.
Hey, I wonder if that has anything to do with what I said moments ago, where I said that she's more of a camera than a character in this one.
Exactly. And then a lot of people were also like, I hate the romance drama with her. And I know there could be more later on, but like, I don't think her and Tigerheart versus her and Bumblestripe is ever really played up to the degree that Lion Blaze and Cinderheart was.
Yeah, this feels like a double standard, considering how many Toms we have romance drama and like love triangles with.
It just feels, I don't know, that felt weird as a criticism, because I was like, she really doesn't have like the level of drama that I feel like you're saying she does.
Like, it informs her character and it is present, but it is it is definitely not like taking over the narrative at any point.
Yeah, it's not her central arc.
In fact, there's some moments where I'm like, I think Dovewing should be more selfish about her love life.
I feel like she should be a little bit more active about her love life. Yeah, I definitely think that was like a wild take to see. Yeah. But I am also Tigerheart Dovewing stan.
Yeah, so. We are apologists on this, or I don't even know if we're apologists, but we're just fans of them on this.
We're just fans. We're stans.
We're standing them on this podcast.
But yeah, that's about what I found, is that, you know, the Dovewing one was more liked, and most people agree it was like one of the saddest Warriors books. I still think Ravenpaw's Farewell is the saddest one I've ever read, but I do think this was a pretty angsty one.
Yeah, this one was pretty up there.
Yeah, do we want to talk about our Warrior Cats of the Week?
Yeah, tell me about your picks.
I picked Brackenfur and Mothwing.
Hell yeah.
Brackenfur. I don't know. Brackenfur was barely in it, but I just thought his moment of grieving Sorreltail was really powerful. We gotta give him
this one.
So that's why I picked him. And then like I said, the Mothwing book really made me like enjoy her perspective more, and I gotta give it to her. I liked her a lot in this one.
2 Mothwing picks in a row for Jill.
I know what's going on.
What's going on? What will happen next?
Yeah.
I love this.
Watch, I'm going to pick Mothwing as our Warrior Cat of the Week for Crowfeather's trial.
She does make a Does she? No, they just mention her, I think. I don't
No,
think
they
she
just
actually
mention
is like there at all. Love those
Who
picks.
do you have?
Yeah, I've got for Dovewing Silence, I chose Purdy.
Oh.
Because I just think the way that he instructs everybody on how to do the burial rites and everything just like really stuck out to me.
Especially with him being he's not a
He's not.
clan-born cat.
He was
and it was just so nice.
Yeah, he was a loner until so recently. And so I loved that. And then you got to go for Mothwing with Mothwing's secret. She really is like,
you gotta.
She's really the only character in that novella.
Yeah, it is
which is good. It's great to see a character study.
I love a character study.
But yeah, it's great. It's great to see her in there. I'm so glad that you are coming around on the Mothwing train because I've been the Mothwing defender on the podcast for so long. I love this turn. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say about her except Mothwing, I'm sorry that your brother hurt you so much.
Yeah, that's rough.
You're doing amazing despite everything. And hell yeah, you're right that StarClan can be stupid most of the time.
Yeah, we agree. On that, we agree. You want to take us out, Scout?
Yeah, let me take us out. Listen up, guys. If you have thoughts, opinions, questions, or memes to share with us, you can write to us at pawsandclawspod@gmail.com. That's paws as in what a cat has, claws as in the part of speech, pod as in podcast. We are also on Blue Sky at Paws and Claws and on Tumblr at Paws Clause Pod. Listeners who are 18 years and older can come join us on Discord, which will be linked in the show notes. We are brought to you by the TWG Podcast Network, which you can find at theworstgarbage.online. And you can find me on Tumblr or Blue Sky at Humble Goat, and you can see the art that I do, including our podcast cover art, at scoutwilkinson.myportfolio.com.
And you can find me on Blue Sky at plot-twists or on Tumblr at antique-romantic. Our next episode will be out in 2 weeks, where we will discuss the 11th published Super Edition, Crowfeather's Trial. Read along by buying the book from a local bookstore or checking a copy out from your local library. Until then, dear listeners, may StarClan guide your paws.
TWG, the worst garbage. Online.
You know what would be really funny is if AJ put the Among Us noise in there. Anyway, just a fun little idea, AJ.